I'm glad we got this one straightened out. My apologies.
No problem. It's good indeed that we're able to be in this one.
Yes, thank you for scheduling both times. We have a good participation here. I can watch Lucas and admit people in and have you go ahead.
Great. Okay. Are you ready, Willem? All set?
I'm ready, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a minute if you want to wait, but
Oké, I'll wait. Dan ga je even een pilsje halen. Dat zou heel lekker zijn. Sorry. Sorry, I could speak secretly to Willem, so in our secret code language.
yes. Well, I'm glad you're in the United States. We thought for sure for possibility you'd be in Europe. So that's at least this is a better time.
Indeed, indeed. We actually moved to New York last week.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, I'll keep track of the waiting room, Lucas, if you want to start.
I just let 3 people in, so that's good. All right. So, first of all, let me apologize for those of you who had intended to attend the 3 o'clock session. There was a miscommunication on the OMSA side. This was not Willem's error, it was ours, and we apologize both to all of you and to Willem. Having said that, we are excited to have him here. Clearly, the number of people on this call indicates the level of interest in the OKO app. It's I've used it. It's very interesting and challenging. So I would like to welcome Willem to begin his presentation. Thank you so much for coming. And again, Willem, I apologize from our perspective on the error this afternoon.
Thanks for having me, Lucas. No problem at all. It's very nice to meet everyone. I'll see that, Lucas, you have to allow me to share my screen before I can start presenting.
Will do. Hold on one second. You should be all right now.
All right, indeed, I'm good to go. Okay, so this afternoon, I would like to tell you a bit more about the OKO, or the OKO app, where we decided on creating this application during COVID times. So we were talking to a mutual friend of ours called Kenny. He mentioned that during COVID, less people were out on the street, but also less people were driving on the streets. And that meant that it was harder for him to rely on his hearing to be able to safely cross. Myself, we started evaluating some of the issues with some of the infrastructure. So some people think that in the entirety of Europe, we always have an APS installed. That's definitely not the case. And we noticed that the same is true here in the US. They're not everywhere installed. It's often hard to maintain, often broken. They don't really provide a sense of orientation, and there's some lack of uniformity within the APS systems that are provided for blind and visually impaired people. So as AI engineers, we started thinking, what can we do to really bring back more information to the user and help with these challenges? That's when we created the OKO application, OKO, which is an AI application that runs on the iPhone that just fits in your pocket and essentially makes every traffic signal accessible. You can see here some people using the application. What we usually recommend is to hold it up against the chest. The moment that the pedestrian signal is detected with the back camera of the phone, it instantly reacts and brings back the state of the traffic signal to the user. Fun fact, OKO, it's actually Croatian for eye, but the reason that we chose that name is because it's very easy for Siri to pick up on that sound. So just say, hey Siri, open OKO. Oh, sorry, my phone is already opening up the application. But it's that easy because that way it's really easy to open up the application just in a hands-free manner. Some insights into the OKO application. As mentioned, it runs locally on your smartphone, which means that it's fast, reliable, and efficient. And it means that it runs at every intersection, just regardless of Wi-Fi or cellular connection. You can run it in airplane mode if you like. That's something very unique for AI models. AI models require quite some computing power, so that means some capability to run certain software. And because we're able to optimize the algorithms to run locally on the phone, means that it really works at every intersection. You're not reliant on any, for example, data drops or just bad cellular reception. That's something that we find is very crucial to help out with, of course, crossing the street. So another aspect that's very important about that fast response time is that it can provide an extra sense of orientation, not only for lining up correctly to where you want to cross, but also, for example, to stop you from veering off into traffic. I'll sketch the scenario. What we always say is that if, for example, you have the center of the intersection towards your left, is that you start doing a sweeping rotation from the right towards the center of the intersection. The moment that you start feeling vibrations is the moment that you're lined up correctly, because you know that's where the pedestrian signal is located, and that's the direction that I want to go in. So again, you hold it up against your chest, rotate. The moment that you line up correctly with that pedestrian signal is the moment you know the orientation. And that also helps when you're, for example, crossing very wide streets, which of course here in the US is definitely the case. The moment you start veering off into traffic is the moment that OKO becomes silent. You're no longer feeling that feedback. So you know, okay, I'm actually no longer heading in the right direction. I stop, I reorient, and the moment OKO starts making sound again, I know, okay, I need to head in that direction. And it's really amazing to see the fast adoption of the OKO application. So recently, a month and a half ago, we launched in the US, but we've been active in Belgium as well, also testing in a few other countries. And in total, the OKO application has already helped cross 500,000 streets. So really amazing to see the impact that the OKO application has. You'll see that it's super reliant every time. We've never made a mistake between red and green, or the walk or don't walk signal. And it's also cool to see, of course, the feedback from the community. Back when we were starting off in our US journey here, we had the luck that Greg Stilson was helping us with this expansion to the US market. For those of you who don't know Greg, he's the head of global technology innovation at the American Printing House for the Blind. He really knows his way around technology as well. And he says, I've been playing around with the OKO app for a while now, and I can say that it's the only attempt we've ever seen to get the experience correct, of recognizing a pedestrian traffic light status and successfully conveying that info to a blind user in a natural fashion. The part in a natural fashion is very important. As mentioned, the idea came from helping out our blind friend, but we haven't stopped there. We always work very closely together with the blind community to make the app as accessible as possible. That's also why I love doing these calls. I want to be as close to the community as possible. So we always try to work together with orientation and mobility specialists as well. In Belgium, the OKO application is actually part of curriculum for orientation and mobility specialists for new students. And they love how the application can really be a complement to orientation and mobility training. And that's also what we hear from Haben Girma. She's also quite famous person in the community. She was actually the first deaf-blind person to graduate from Harvard Law here in the US. She mentioned, before I could cross street as a blind person, of course, I had to do many hours of orientation and mobility training. OKO complements that training by giving us additional information. That's something that we always strive on as well. We're no substitute to any orientation and mobility training. We're just trying to augment their walk, bring back more information, and that way they can make an informed decision. There are certain intersections, of course, where it's super hard to just rely on your hearing, and OKO just complements that by bringing back more information. Now I'd like to talk a bit more about what exactly the OKO application looks like. So what you see here is the home screen of the application. So the moment you open up the app, it instantly starts looking for a pedestrian head. So that means no actions required. It's very easy to use. At the top bar, you can see traffic head. That means the function that is selected is looking for that pedestrian traffic head or traffic signal. This is important for voiceover users. That way they know which functionality exactly they are in. At the right, you can see a small icon of an account or settings page. Here you can find some more settings of the OKO application. At the bottom right, there's a menu section. That's for future purposes where new functionalities will be added to the OKO application. In Belgium, we also have a second functionality already. So it's really for future proof to make people get used to a flow of multiple functionalities. At the bottom left, there's a small report a mistake button. This creates a snapshot of, for example, an intersection where certain conditions arise where the application, for example, is not picking up the pedestrian signal. That way it creates an image and actually sends that to our cloud to make the AI become smarter and smarter. That's the beauty of an artificial intelligence. It's actually becoming more and more powerful every day. And then there's also a referral campaign where you can easily share the application with your friends. There's 3 types of feedback that the OKO application provides. There's the green light, there's the red light, and there's the countdown. So of course, in the US, the green and red light are the walk and don't walk status. Countdown is specific to the US market. We provide feedback in 3 types of ways. First, there's visual overlay, as you can see here. Second, there's audio feedback. And third, there are vibrations. The audio and the vibrations are in sync, where a slow rhythm would indicate the don't walk, a fast rhythm indicates the walk, and an intermediate rhythm indicates the countdown. I've had some users who mentioned that the countdown almost feels like a horse, but it's meant to be as an intermediate. A horse is also fine, I guess, to bring back that information. Some practical details or really in-depth details that I always like to share with orientation and mobility specialists. There's also a dedicated website, extra materials for ONMs, where you can really find a lot of information about the OKO application if, for example, your students have some questions. We currently do not support Android. We're a young company, and we have something very unique about the OKO application, and that's where the application runs locally on the phone. That means that we are, however, reliant on a good battery, a good computer chip, and also a good camera. As a young company, we cannot go out and test on all of these different Android devices that are out there. A lot of them are not capable of running these types of complex softwares. And that's why initially we had to focus on iOS. Down the line, Android will be added, but currently it's an iOS application only. Very important as well is because everything runs locally on the phone, you'll notice that, for example, an iPhone 8, which is the baseline of iPhones that we support, might react a bit slower compared to, for example, the newer iPhone 14 Pros. These, of course, are because we want to support as many phones as possible while still, of course, being fast enough. You'll also see, for example, that the battery impact on the newest phones is less compared to the older phones. We always also recommend to update to the latest iOS version. That's because on these versions, the AI software will also run more efficiently. We know that sometimes people are hesitant because of voiceover issues or something else with iOS. So we do support iOS 15, but we always recommend to go to the newest section. Also important is that we always recommend people to refrain using the application in power saving mode. As the name indicates itself, at that point, it's trying to save battery. That means that it's also trying to limit the computing power that applications have on your phone. That means that the OKO application will also react slower compared to when the power saving mode is not on. OKO fully supports voiceover. That's something that we really strive for from the start, but you do have to make sure that screen recognition is turned off. Some phones have screen recognition for the OKO app or just other type of applications, and this can lead to confusing information being brought back to the user. And that's a bit more the information about the OKO application, where we really want to help people reach their destination effortlessly. Now is really the time where we can do a Q&A, and I'd like to answer all of your OKO questions.
I would like everyone to please use the raise hand option, and I'll try and keep it in order as best I can for questions. That'd be great. Also, there's 2 pages, so it'll help me. Take me a while to get to everybody. Joanne, I think you're the first one I saw. Joanne Challen.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, thank you for your presentation. I played with the OKO app in 2 very different destinations, and I found that it responded differently. One was at an elevation of 7,000 feet, and one was at an elevation of 13 feet above sea level. And I also found on a clear day versus a cloudy day, it responded differently. Do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, so actually, a few weeks ago, a brand new update of the application released. So the height of where you are using the application has no influence on the OKO application being run on the phone. So it might be the newer update that led to faster response time of the OKO application. Sometimes weather conditions, for example, sun shining very, very bright on the pedestrian signal, can have an impact. The general rule is if a sighted person is able to really see that pedestrian signal, the OKO application will also pick it up.
I do have the most recent version of it, so I was just curious about that. It was just, and I found that using it the first time, it did not pick up the pedestrian signal, but other iterations of it did. Like right after the second time I tried to use it in the third and the fourth. So
yeah,
that might be
it could be the new update. We haven't had any complaints like that so far. But happy to send over, for example, the intersection, and then I can take a look. We support up to 8 lanes wide. So it might be that maybe the intersection was a bit too wide, or it could be the older version. I don't know.
One intersection was 12 lanes wide, from what I recall.
Okay. So that might be indeed the reason.
Could be. Thank you.
Some questions in the chat, Willem. I'll just reading from Amanda Guerrero to everyone. You mentioned on the OKO screen, there's the title section, the little title section, pedestrian traffic signal. So the user knows what screen mode it's in. Is there I don't know if that's one question, or is there an update where OKO will have multiple functions?
Yes, indeed, there will be. We're always working on adding more functionality to the application. It's just to get the user familiar to how to use the menu and to make sure that that button is already there. More functionalities will definitely be added down the line.
There's another question from Jennifer Jeffrey. Will it work at a corner that also has a light designated for a bicycle? Would it get confused?
No, it will not. So that's the beauty of artificial intelligence. It has really learned to distinguish the pedestrian signal, and it will only look at that pedestrian signal, not at car traffic lights, and also not at bicycle traffic lights.
Another question just came in saying then, not sure from whom, is there a maximum number of lanes that it will not pick up the pedestrian signal? I think you just dealt with that, but deal with it again, please. Yeah.
Yeah, so we currently support up to 8 or 9 lanes wide. We are adding or updating the artificial intelligence so that it will support wider intersections, but currently it's up to 8 or 9 lanes wide. Great.
I wanted to ask you to expand just a little bit. When iPhones first came out and came into use, the idea of using it to recognize walk, don't walk signs was, I think, a fairly common idea among a lot of us. But what has made this possible, I understand, is the use of artificial intelligence. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So you might have heard of like the new wave of ChatGPT and all of these different type of artificial intelligence algorithms. These have recently become very mainstream and very, very popular. But these have also become recently very optimized to run on smartphones. So artificial intelligence is really a powerful tool that can be learned to do very, very powerful things like, for example, recognizing a pedestrian signal without ever making a mistake. But it's very important, of course, that they are able to run on a smartphone. It's since the development of very strong iPhones that it's really been able to run artificial intelligence locally on the phone without a Wi-Fi or cellular connection. And that's starting around the time that iPhone 8 came out. So it's really only recently become possible to do these type of applications that help out with such complex tasks as, for example, outdoor navigation.
Great, thank you. And Thania Perez Alberto also has a hand raised. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm just wondering when we do want to give feedback regarding, let's say, a complication at an intersection, what sort of comments or feedback should we be providing? Because I've gotten a few moments where I'm like, oh, I need to tell them about this. And then I kind of freak out because I'm like, wait, what sort of information am I supposed to be giving them? Like the number of lanes, then intersections, what state I'm in, like, what are you looking for exactly? So I can remind myself of all the details that you need that can be helpful.
Yeah. So there's a big feedback button inside the application. It goes to feedback at eyes, but it really just goes to me. I always like to do also one-on-one calls to really learn more about yours, for example, specific clients or some kind of other stuff insights that you have about the OKO application. What's always very interesting is indeed to learn the number of lanes. For example, an actual image of the intersection is always very useful. And these types of ways can really help us examine the OKO application and the performance, and then also improve everything.
Thank you.
But don't hesitate to reach out. Always like to get these types of emails.
Bonnie
Okay,
wrote, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, please.
No, thank you. Just one more question regarding that, because I have been using it since I've heard of it, and I get excited and I try to kind of show my students, and then on one corner of the intersection, we'll get it to work, and then when we cross the street and go to another corner, then somehow it doesn't work. And then is there any tips on like how or where to start to align it if the student is completely blind? I jumped in when you were talking something about like in front of your chest.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I didn't hear the rest of it.
What we usually recommend is that the user hold the phone against their chest. That's a very stable position. That way you're not going to be sweeping around with your phone. Also, some people have like a tremor, so it's good to hold it against your chest. It's a very stable position. If the center of the intersection is at your left, we always recommend doing a sweeping rotation from the right towards the center of the intersection. The moment that we see that pedestrian signal is the moment that you're instantly going to get that feedback. And that way, you know, okay, now I'm oriented correctly towards that pedestrian signal. Some people also like to use like a lanyard case to let the phone hang loose like this. The phone can be upside down as well. The OKO app will still pick up the traffic lights.
A question in the chat, if there is a tree branch or a street sign in front of the signal, will it be detected if the PED signal is partially blocked?
Again, the general rule is that if a sighted person is able to make out what the pedestrian signal is, then the OKO app will do the same. I've had instances where it's really been blocked by a lot of stuff, and OKO app still picks up the traffic signal.
I have another question. I've used I'm an Android user, sorry, but I have been traveling with friends and used their iPhones and experimented with the OKO app some. But I have only done it in daylight. I have not done it in, for example, New York City with the background of lots of other lights from stores, cars, et cetera, et cetera. What's the impact on performance in very sort of light flooded environments with multiple light sources? Yeah,
so like in general, we advise people to use it during daylight. That's when OKO is most powerful. It does already work during daytime. During nighttime, we are really expanding on the artificial intelligence algorithm to keep improving nighttime conditions. It will not make a mistake between walk or don't walk, just the number of lanes supported during night is a bit less. Background lights are not an issue for the artificial intelligence.
Great. That's very useful information. Thank you very much. Anyone else? We've got a very good crowd here, so.
I see that there's someone asking what's the impact of the app on battery usage.
Oh, I missed that one. Sorry. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. The impact on battery usage, it's a bit more compared to a GPS application, but we are working very hard on reducing that impact. Again, we're working very hard on improving the OKO application. You'll find that on the newer phones, the battery impact is less compared to on the older phones.
Can I see, just for the fun of it, Carol, I'll get to you in a second, a show of hands on how many people have actually tried the app, either by themselves or with a student? Just hit the raise your hand button. You've got a thumbs up here. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Okay. We've got 3 there. Bunch over on the other page. Good. That's great.
I see that Derek Wright asks, what's the cost or subscription?
You don't want to talk to Derek. I'm sorry. No, just kidding. Go ahead, Derek.
So the application is available to download for free on the App Store. We're just trying to bring back more information to the user. And we really believe that if a sighted person doesn't have to pay to see the traffic light, a blind or visually impaired shouldn't have to pay for it either. We're working very hard to work with B2B partners to keep providing it for free.
Before I did that little experiment, Carol Lovett had her hand raised. Please go ahead, Carol. Carol, you're muted. If
Sorry, phone issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've been using the app. This app has been a game changer over here. Myself and my clients were super excited to try out as soon as we heard about the app, and really appreciated how simple it is to use, because many of my clients are not what I would call high tech. And most of them required no instruction from my part, just aiming the phone, and were able to detect the vibration, the sound, and I did not have to present any kind of information or instruction on what sound was to be used for what. They immediately on instinct knew what to do. So I appreciate the ease of use, and it's been quite consistent. I've used it and my clients at 2-lane, 4-lane, and I think I've done a 6-lane, and it's been consistent every time. One of the things I did notice is if they scanned a little too much into the intersection, they actually picked up the signal from the diagonal crosswalk light. So we talked about how far to scan when going into the intersection, and understanding that it can pick up that far away. So thanks for creating such a great app.
Thanks for the feedback, Carol. It's really nice to hear. Yeah, we really love to be close to the community, and that's how we were able to create such an easy to use application. And indeed, that's also why the application says practice with orientation and mobility specialist or friends first, to really get the hang of that sweeping rotation from the outside of the intersection towards the center. The moment you see that first pedestrian signal is the moment you know, okay, this is the one that I'm interested in.
Thank you, Carol. You can see the chat there, I think, Willem.
So I see you mentioned that the app will help keep you aligned. Does that mean that it optimizes when the traffic light is in the center? I'm curious how that function works, because even when someone is misaligned by a few degrees, it can make a huge difference in veering. Yeah, so Jennifer, good question. It doesn't say when you're in the center of the screen, but because you're holding it in portrait mode, there's a certain point of view that you know, okay, that's where the traffic light is. By doing that sweeping rotation, because the application responds that fast, you actually know, okay, the moment it responds is the moment I know that I'm heading that way. That's feedback that we're really getting from tons and tons of users, that it really helps get that initial orientation right, because you know by that sweeping rotation, this is where I'm interested in heading off. and some people keep using it during their crossing as well to help stay aligned and stop them from veering off. I see Courtney. She also says, if there's a crack in the camera side, is the app still functional? Some of my students have cracked cameras. Courtney, that really depends on how bad the crack is, or also how affected the camera is. If the camera can still see decently what the pedestrian signal is, then the OKO application will still pick it up. I see Bonnie says, thanks, can't wait to try it. Pittsburgh has many that are positioned way outside. I'm hoping students can use parallel traffic. Okay, cool. Thanks for the info, Bonnie. Yeah, we really see some people as well that say, for example, there are some APSs, but there's really it takes 5 to 6 seconds to get to that pedestrian signal, and then APS, sorry, and then you're really misaligned to cross correctly, and they just use the OKO application instead to stay aligned and to get the information about the pedestrian signal. I see Diana Perez. She asked, what is the ultimate goal of the application? And also it says amazing app, so thanks. Are you keeping it simple for lights or incorporate it with any GPS? So that's actually one of the reasons why the whole founding team has moved to the US market, is to be really close to the community, to talk to users, to orientation and mobility specialists. So if anyone wants to do a one-on-one call with me, feel free to reach out. You have my email, but also you can find it in the OKO application by sharing feedback. We are talking to users which kind of feedback or extra information can be helpful when crossing the streets, such as, for example, knowing which street exactly that you are crossing at that point. But other stuff will be added down the line. My vision or my dream would be that the OKO application will become so powerful with so many functionalities that in the end it will be able to run a marathon. A blind person would be able to run a marathon. That's my personal goal. To get there, we have to be very close to the community, to not be a burden, to not bring back too much information, while also being so simple to use for everyone. So it's still a long way to go, but that's my dream personally.
Let's see, where are we? You did that one, and then Joanne beneath that, I think. Did you see that one? Interestingly, the countdown was initially silent, but did activate midway through crossing a 12-lane intersection. Oh, that was the Troy.
Yeah, so Joanne, indeed, 12-lane intersection is a bit too wide for the OKO application at this point. We are adding more or expanding the reach of the OKO application. So you'll see the moment that it sees it, it will instantly pick up that pedestrian signal. 12 lanes right now is a bit too far for the OKO application, but will be added down the line. I see Joyce also asks, is there an age limit on the application? No, I recently met Bill. He's 83 years old. He loves the application, uses it almost daily, and is very enthusiastic about that.
I just have a comment here, and I think this will start us off in an entirely different direction, and I'm sorry about that, but there you go. When I was working with one of the individuals I've worked with it, she used it to determine the onset of the walk interval, initiated her crossing, and then my advice, she was a guide dog user, and my advice to her was to then drop the phone, not on the ground, but I mean, put it down so that she could continue to focus on other environmental noise, most importantly, traffic. And I think that this is going to become, we don't have to beat it up now. I think it's something that many of us are thinking about and are concerned about, is using the phone well, to the app well, to get the indication of when to start, but then what the best process is in the crossing, because the OKO app, good as it is, will not detect vehicles.
No, indeed, yeah. So it's really up to indeed what you find is best during the crossing. Some people already keep using it while they're crossing. Some people put it away. Of course, when you're having like a lanyard case, then it's easy because you can let the phone hang loose. I also see, sorry, Joyce, I misunderstood your question. Is there a certain age limit to the APS, not the person? So the age of the APS signal does not matter. We're not reliant on an APS. We're not reliant on any physical adaptations. We're just looking at the pedestrian signal. And that means that you don't have to be reliant on any physical adaptations. No need of, for example, a smart APS or just an APS in general. That way we can really make every intersection accessible.
Thank you. All right. Got a nice pat on the back. I don't know if it'll work in Omaha. I suspect it will. Okay.
I see some people indeed agree, Lucas, that it might be best practice to put the phone away. So indeed, it's up to the user, of course, if they want to keep using the phone, or indeed they might get distracted. You can still use it to be oriented when you start crossing, of course.
Right. Again, this is a discussion that I have seen batted around on various listservs. There's a lot of discussion around this app and other apps actually, and how they should be best used on the street. So it's an ongoing area of growth in our field, which is terrific.
Mm-hmm. Always happy to be part of those discussions if anyone wants to pick my brain. We did some extensive research on what are some good practices to help out with crossing the street.
Excellent, great. All right. Well, and what's next on your Willem? What are you working on as the next project?
So we're really working hard on reducing the battery impact, improving just the general aspect of helping cross these intersections, and then more functionalities will be added down the line. But I can't share too much of that yet.
Now,
we'll be excited, definitely.
I read that in Belgium, and you can tell me to ik zal het even in het Nederlands doen. No, in Belgium, the app can actually read the destination signs on bus routes. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. And that might be a functionality that will be added to the US market as well, where we read out the destination that a bus has so that the user knows upfront if they're getting on the correct bus or not. I noticed throughout my road trip up the East Coast, it was funny, in Miami, there was less public transport being used, and more when I got north, more public transport being used. So I guess it depends on the region in the US if it would be something useful or not. We're still seeing if indeed it would be valuable to the US market as well.
Thank you so much. Let's see, let's give it a few minutes. There's another one. Joyce says that would be a great idea. Good. All right, more questions for Willem, more discussion. We'll give it another minute or two for people to think up things that they wanted to know or raise their courage to post or raise your hand. Willem, I really appreciate you coming on, and you can see that this particular topic has generated a great deal of interest on this call. We do Mobility Monday at OMSA once a month on the second Monday of every month, generally at 7. And I think this may be the most attendees we've had at any one session. So
okay.
Congratulations, Willem. That's really terrific.
Cool. And as mentioned, if anyone wants to reach out to me and have like a one-on-one talk about the OKO application, or if they have other questions, really feel free to reach out. Always love to do those kind of calls.
And to those of you who perhaps missed the beginning of the call or would like to share it with someone else, it will be up on the OMSA site in the what's it called? I can't even think of the live binder file area.
Resources.
Yeah, thank you. Under resources, yeah. And there's Willem's email address. Great. And Thanks. Good. There's from Bonnie. That's wonderful. Nou, tot de volgende keer. All right. Oh, I can't, wait a minute. We got a late arrival. Kathy Zeider is here. Kathy, we were just about to break up till you got here. Now we're here. Do you have a question for Willem about the OKO app? Are you familiar with it? No, I don't think she does. Okay, good. Going once. Eileen, something to add for us before we terminate the call?
No, I just want to thank everybody for their attendance and participation. I think the app looks really good. It looks like we can give even more feedback as the mobility people get out in the field and are using the app. And will probably welcome that. So you have his email address. So shoot him an email and you'll get your answers or share even the experience of using it.
I wonder if we might schedule another visit with you, Willem. I think as you noticed when I asked how many people had actually used it, there were a smattering of people, but there were a lot of people who haven't, may have just heard about it. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll be happy to come back. Yeah, to answer more questions.
I think that would be great if all of you who are interested, could download the app, try it, test it, look for problems, let Willem know what your experience is, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe we can do another call on that or find another forum to get everybody together to give that feedback to him. This is a great group of professionals here, and I'm really happy to see this level of interest. It's terrific.
And I know over the past couple months, you have been giving presentations to different groups. So you're getting the word out. So if there is an individual conference or group like a state meeting that would like to have you come, I'm sure you would at least consider that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Great.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. And we'll talk soon.
All right. I hope so. Okay. So long.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Lucas.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Becky, any questions? Anything I can help you with while I'm still here? I think it's just you and me.